Everyone treats summer like it owes you happiness. Long days, pool parties, your best life on a loop. So what does it mean when you feel worse? The summer blues are real. It's why summer is one of the busiest stretches of the year for people starting therapy. Therapy is not only for when you're in crisis. Growth therapy is for all the moments when you decide you want more. More support, more clarity, more tools. Mental health isn't a destination you reach. It's something you build, and Grow makes that easier. Grow connects you with thousands of high-quality licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. The therapist you want takes your insurance on Grow. Grow accepts over 125 insurance plans. Sessions average $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/book now today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/book now. growtherapy.com/book now. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
If your fashion wish list lives rent-free in your brain, you need to be on Poshmark. With Poshmark, you're shopping millions of listings from thousands of closets, each curated by someone with their own style. Vintage finds, designer pieces, and everyday staples all in one place. Search for your favorites or let the discovery come to you. Poshmark makes it easy to find what you actually want to wear at prices that feel like a quiet win. Download the Poshmark app today and use code PODCAST10 when you sign up to get $10 off your first purchase.
Welcome to the Wild Wonderful Life podcast. I'm Heather Pugh. This is a place for honest stories about motherhood, wellness, love, family, and creating a life that feels deeply lived and celebrated. I'm so glad you're here. Lately, when others have asked how it's going, the first thing that comes to my mind is, it is wild and it is wonderful. So I thought, why not create a podcast about all of the wild and wonderful things that are happening in life? And here we are. On this podcast, you can look forward to topics ranging from modern day motherhood, as a millennial mom myself, now raising 3 little wild and wonderful boys, Aja, Oliver, and Jude, with my wonderful husband in sunny San Diego, Oceanside, California. I'll be talking about lifestyle and finding balance and mindfulness, wellness, yoga, health, while balancing the chaos of everyday life with 3 boys under the age of 5. And I have a background in teaching yoga, and I've been practicing for 20 years, teaching for 10. So I'll be leaning on some of my experience as a student and teacher. We'll also dive into topics that I'm finding to be curious about, whether it be trying my hand at ceramics, gardening, cooking, baking, you name it. We'll explore together along the way. And at times I'll have others on the show for an interview so that they can share their perspective with you as well. Let's start at the beginning. I have thought about this quite a bit and wondered what it was that I enjoyed the most about the different jobs that I've had over the years, or the things that I've done, whether it was contributing in school or during my career. And one thing that I have found I love the most is storytelling, whether it's telling the story of a brand or a business or a family member or a friend and sharing information. I found it always ends up kind of circling back to that, to telling stories as a way of getting information across, learning, being entertained, being informed, being inspired. That is my hope with this podcast, is that it could be exactly that. It could be like a conversation that we're having, we're catching up. It's something that you might be able to learn, and I'm learning along the way with you. Maybe a spark of creativity comes from one of the episodes, or you're motivated to do something with your family or your person or your community. I would love to inspire you to live your life with courage and strength and resilience and a little bit of silliness. When I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a journalist. Like many young gals growing up in the early 90s and 2000s, it was so aspirational to work for some place fabulous like a magazine or newspaper or broadcast television station. I just thought it was the most divine idea. I went to school at the University of Wisconsin-Madison for journalism as well as Spanish, with my focus on journalism, knowing I wanted to pursue something with communications following my graduation. También hablo español. I absolutely loved the idea of studying abroad during college in a country where I had to learn the language and therefore really be immersed in the culture as well. And thought Spanish would be the ideal language to learn for me, since I would just be able to connect with so many people who speak the language outside of English as my first language. During my junior year of college, I ended up studying abroad in Madrid, Spain, and just loved the culture, the people, the entire experience, and ended up graduating with that double major in journalism and Spanish. My first role out of college was actually working for a marketing agency in their research and development department. At this agency, we would survey customers and clients to better understand their desires, their needs, their feedback. And it was just so interesting to take that approach when trying to really understand how to get messages across and reach the right people. My next role was managing public relations and social media messaging for a variety of national and local brands in Madison, Wisconsin. That was at the time where social media really had just started becoming a way of communicating with your current customers, your target customers, and sharing your brand message. Wow, that was quite the transition for so many of us. I feel very lucky and grateful that I was in the right place at the right time to begin doing that for some really big and exciting brands and getting to reach just so many people with our messages. I was also really pushed on a personal and professional level in that environment, working with so many inspiring and creative individuals that were really dedicated to creating excellent work for our clients. That led me to work in healthcare, and I ended up working directly for a major healthcare organization here in San Diego, California, when I moved to the West Coast from Wisconsin. I was just at a place in my life where I was able to move and try something out. I had convinced two friends to move to San Diego before I had even moved to San Diego, and of course, came out to visit them and just fell in love with the culture and the place, the sunshine, the beaches, the hiking, all the things. I just absolutely loved it. And while working in healthcare marketing, I also experienced some fairly traumatic things in my life that led me to diving deeper into yoga. Yoga has been a part of my life since college. I actually accidentally discovered it through one of my roommate's DVD collections while living in a basement and sharing a basement room in Madison, Wisconsin during college. I was probably cold and not wanting to go outside to the gym or to try to exercise otherwise, but found this yoga DVD and thought, I've heard of yoga. I should give that a try. And so I started doing the yoga classes and little by little just started doing them more and more often. I just loved how they made my body feel. I loved that it made me be more aware of my mind and my thoughts, and just found it gave me a basis of a little bit of a spiritual practice to go off of. And a little bit about my spirituality and religious upbringing. I grew up Catholic, like many do in the Midwest, and I was a practicing Catholic for most of my young years. I was baptized and had my first communion. As I grew older and didn't go to church anymore with family once I started working, I just started to feel a little out of touch with the Catholic religion. I now don't necessarily consider myself religious, but more spiritual, and many of the spiritual practices that I will draw upon in the show as well may include exploration into yoga, breath work, meditation. With my yoga, when I was going through a time of grief and just trying to understand my feelings and work through some healing, I thought through how much yoga has helped me. At that point, I had been practicing yoga for, let's say, 7, 8 years, and thought, I think I'm going to do my yoga teacher training. In 2016, I decided to do my first yoga teacher training in Vinyasa Yoga here in San Diego, and wasn't even thinking I would necessarily teach it. I thought, oh, maybe occasionally, or, on vacation, maybe I'll plan a retreat. I do love to travel and I love yoga. So if I could combine those things, that would be really great. But really, I just wanted to dive in and learn more about the practice myself and understand it. I had also been talking to a friend on the phone who I love so dearly and was saying, I think I might want to teach yoga, and I think I might, plan a trip and teach yoga on it, plan a retreat and teach yoga on it. And she's like, how much goes into teaching a yoga class and how much you learn in yoga teaching certifications, right? Like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess I don't know everything. I don't know. All I've had experienced are these snippets throughout classes over the years, whether it was a class I took in a park or a studio or online. It was kind of coming from all over the place. And as a student, there's only so much you see that's gone behind the scenes into the teachings. And so I said, yeah, I think you're right. I think I might want to do one of those trainings. So I found a 200-hour vinyasa training here in San Diego, and that was my first experience of learning to teach yoga and just to dive deeper into the practice. That first training just really cracked me open to understanding myself better, understanding the practice, being so profoundly helped by it that all I wanted to do was learn and teach and share and continue that process. So for the last 10 years, that's what I've been doing. I've been teaching, I've been learning, I've added certifications. 2 years after that first certification and my first 2 years of teaching, mostly part-time on the side with other marketing experiences and communications roles, I decided to do a 300-hour training similar to my study abroad experience in Madrid, Spain. I thought, how cool would it be to go do another training and learn something in another country where I get to learn another culture? I went to Quito, Ecuador, and had, again, one of the most profound experiences of my life. I was there for 42 days learning Kaula White Tantra Yoga and about shamanism as well. And the beautiful thing about those practices are they are just so simple and beautiful and honor these timeless practices that have been around forever. Kaula, white tantra yoga, comes from India. It's a stillness practice. It's like a hatha meets restorative, 2 to 3 hour practice. Mindful, slow, strong, really accessible to yogis at about any practice level. So you could be brand new to yoga and experience this class and just have an incredible experience. Or you could be an advanced yogi and be invited to slow down and still yourself through the practice. And I just absolutely loved that. We channeled the senses. So it was a very sensual experience in the sense of tapping into our hearing, our sound, our sight, and how all of these things, our touch, our feelings, can enhance our experience and bring us more fully into the present for peace. We also were exposed to shamans that live there and still practice medicine and rituals that have been passed down to them from their ancestors and generations who have been doing this for their families and their communities. So we learned about our connection to nature, to the cosmos, to the animals around us. And it was just such a beautiful experience to layer in with that additional yoga I was learning. And most recently, I completed my prenatal yoga certification while pregnant with our first son because I knew I wanted to understand how to be practicing safely as well as teaching to other pregnant women. And then I completed a yin yoga training because I also knew I needed to slow down and would benefit from learning to teach yin and sharing that practice with others. Today, I am teaching yoga part-time. I'm mothering more than full-time, as you may know if you are a parent. Before I became a mom to young boys, I was a fur baby mama. Had a spaniel who I called my fur baby for 16 years. She was such a big part of my life. I miss her so dearly and love her so much. And she really was such a soulmate to me over all of that time. And I still miss having an animal in my life and desire for that to be in my life again someday. Since becoming a mom, I've been sincerely humbled. This is the most incredible experience of my life and also can be one of the most challenging. Again, wild and wonderful all at the same time. I feel like I am just learning so much along the way. I'm challenged every day and honestly inspired and just so deeply in love with the moments that I get to share with my boys and my husband and my family and friends and neighbors and community. It really does wake me up to just this experience that we all are having walking alongside each other. Since becoming a mother, I've also found that my attention and awareness has just expanded to wanting to learn more about what it is to be a good mother, how to do things that I have no idea what I'm doing. How am I dressing now? How do I dress when I'm pregnant, when I'm postpartum, when I'm changing shapes and sizes and activity levels and activities? Wow. It has been 5 years plus of that for me, whether I was pregnant or newly postpartum, gaining weight, losing weight, breastfeeding. I've breastfed all three of my boys, so that's a topic that we'll probably discuss, is finding clothes that work and being able to do certain things like be away from the baby for any amount of time. And I have exclusively breastfed all three of our boys. I've been curious about making our house a home, making a delicious meal for my family, helping our home to feel special and safe and a place that our boys love to be. These are all things that have become just so important to me, even more so since becoming a mother. I truly do believe that you can't pour from an empty cup. Maintaining hobbies and entertaining curiosities and nurturing passions, so important, especially as you're raising children. I feel like I can be a better mom and wife, partner, neighbor when I'm taking a little bit of time for me too. Whether it's getting to practice yoga, going for a roller skate, getting out in nature, sipping coffee outside on a beautiful day, listening to nature, getting to travel, all of these things I know light me up. And I know I don't have a lot of time for them right now, but I also feel so fueled when I'm able to carve out the time to do these things for myself. So I'll share what I'm learning with you along the way. I am truly so grateful to my partner who is extremely encouraging for me to pursue my personal passions and pursuits. And I just know how challenging it can be even with that support. This podcast really feels like a full circle moment for me, bringing together so much of what I've done in the past and really leaning into where I am today. This is the type of content that I'm seeking out and that I'm finding is grabbing my interest as well. I'm just hoping to connect with other like-minded, amazing humans who are just looking at being in the world with one another and living our best lives. With each episode, I'd love to end with a wild and wonderful moment that made me smile. This week's wild, wonderful moment was taking my son Aja to TK, transitional kindergarten, at the elementary school for the first time. I swear he was just born, and I've heard the quote, when you become a parent, you meet time, and I think that is so true. I just feel like time has gone so fast. He's grown up so fast, and I've just been so utterly emotional and overcome with joy and just the bittersweet feeling of my son going into elementary school for the first time and getting to experience being in community with other students there and just learning and soaking in so much. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to follow the Wild Wonderful Life podcasts wherever you subscribe, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, Substack, or here. And speaking of Substack, that's where you'll be able to find all of the show notes, plus bonus content, and more. Be sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much if you could leave a review wherever you listen and share this episode with anyone else you think who might enjoy it. Thank you so much, and until next time.
Are you noticing your car insurance rate creep up even without tickets or claims? You're not alone. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry handles the legwork by comparing quotes side by side from over 50 top insurers so you can confidently hit buy. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Jerry even tracks rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Don't settle for higher rates. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/libsyn today. That's jerry.ai/libsyn.
This summer, turn your gifting game up during the Summer Plant and Garden Sale at 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can score up to 30% off succulents, bonsais, fresh-cut blooms, and more. Whether you're celebrating a birthday, sending a thank you, or a just because surprise, 1-800-Flowers lets you save big on a stunning selection of gifts. Save up to 30% off during the Summer Plant and Garden Sale at 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast. Gift something unforgettable today.